Hello, and in today's video, we are doing Premier League predictions for match week number 18 of the 2022 to 23 season. That's right, score predictions back again, and it was an interesting round of match week 17 results. We'll go through that, but quickly, let me remind you of the scoring system. It's 3 points for a correct result, and then it's 7 points for a correct scoreline. How did the Predictions League get on last week? Well, thank you for all those that commented or sent me a message to get their predictions in for match week 17. I can reveal in reverse order, sitting in a place of 5th position, was in fact my good friend Ethan. He scored 21 points. In 4th place, it was Sam. You got 26 points. In 3rd place was Cole Boogler with 29 points. In 2nd, so it's between me and FPL Central, but who takes the crown after match week 17? In 2nd, it was with 32 points, FPL Central, and in 1st, with 33 points, was yours truly, with a very decent score for me there. I'll take that very much. Brentford Spurs we got wrong. We thought Brentford would shock Spurs and win 2-0. They ended up coming back 2-0 down Spurs and getting a draw. So good result in the end, despite another worrying performance. Palace Fulham, I thought that'd be a draw, and that was a big Fulham win. Everton Wolves, I thought that'd be a draw, and that was a late Wolves win. Leicester Newcastle, I said 2-1 Newcastle, so we at least got 3 points for the result. United against Forest, I predicted perfectly with a 3-0 prediction with a Rashford and Fred goal, and that's exactly what happened. So 7 points to me there. We also said 2-1 Brighton, so just like the Newcastle game, right result, but not the right scoreline. Another 3 points though. We said Villa 1, Liverpool 3 with Salah to get on the score sheet in a 3-1, and that's exactly what happened. So 7 points there. We also said 2-1 Arsenal against West Ham, 3 points for the result. And we also said 2-0 City against Leeds. Again, once again, correct result, but not the scoreline. So 3 points, 33, as well as that Chelsea-Bournemouth game, another correct scoreline, 2-0 Chelsea, is what we predicted with, guess what, a Havertz goal. I'm just too good at this point. But can we get round to match week 18 and do even better? Let's find out. We're going to be predicting in this video match week 18 and match week 19 because, yes, the fixtures are coming thick and fast over this New Year period. So let's get stuck in. First up, we've got West Ham United against Brentford. Now, this is a really interesting London derby. I do look at this and think West Ham simply have to return to winning ways under the lights on the London Stadium. They really have been a bit poor in form recently, and people sometimes thinking West Ham, they might even get near the relegation zone, and David Moyes is under pressure. But I think he's come through periods of pressure like this before. He knows what to do. He's very experienced, and this Brentford side, they haven't been in the best of form. They did beat Man City before the World Cup break. They did get a decent point against Tottenham, but they still overall defensively still look suspect to me. So I think West Ham can score in this one. It's a bigger game for them than it is for Brentford, but ultimately I will go for West Ham 2, Brentford 0. Goal scorers here, Jared Bowen to get the first one for the Hammers. And the second West Ham goal comes from Aaron Cresswell. Now we've got Liverpool versus Leicester. Now, for this one, I'm going for a 3-1 to Liverpool, mainly because I think Liverpool looked much better against Aston Villa. Apart from the poor finishing of Darwin Núñez, they were looking really clinical in attack. And what a moment it was, of course, for Bajcetic to get his first goal for Liverpool. But I think Leicester defensively is still suspect, as we saw against Newcastle, and without a lot of their main players like Maddison, I think Leicester will struggle to kind of make Liverpool any kind of problems. Liverpool 3, Leicester 1. Leicester score first though, and this time it's through once again Youri Tielemans. But Liverpool's goal scorers Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and yes, Fabio Carvalho. Now, Wolves v Man United. This is a game I can see United just edging. I thought they were superb against Nottingham Forest, but really, that Forest team did not lay a glove on them. And other than that late, first half goal that was ruled out for that unfortunate offside for Forest, they really didn't threaten them. So I think Wolves are going to be just as lackluster defensively. They are struggling, but going forward is the big problem for Wolves. And they did get a win at Everton, but Everton are equally as poor right now. So I think this United team looking sturdy, and they'll get the job done. 1-0 away from home. The only goal scorer, I reckon, will be a whipped in cross from Luke Shaw, powered into the back of the net by Anthony Martial. Now, it's Bournemouth versus Crystal Palace here, and I'm going for a Bournemouth victory. I just feel this Palace defence is really not what we thought it was and struggling. And I think Bournemouth will be up for this one. They were okay against Chelsea, but I think they'll be better here. 1-0, the only goal, Kiefer Moore. Now it's Fulham v Southampton. I think Fulham win this one 3-1 fairly comfortably. They were superb against Palace, and Southampton looking pretty dodgy defensively. I reckon Mitrovic will probably get on the score sheet here, as well as Andreas Pereira and Bobby De Cordova-Reid. And then Southampton get a goal through a bit of Che Adams. Now it's a City against Everton. Now, City do look at this team and think like they were rotated from what they used to against Leeds, but they still did get the job done very comfortably. So I think Everton will struggle here. If De Bruyne is back in his best form, if Cancelo and Foden are starting again, it could be a very ugly one for Frank Lampard. But I think that City will beat Everton 2-0 in the end, with goals from Erling Haaland, and then the second one for Manchester City, Ilkay Gundogan. Now, Newcastle Leeds, I think this is the sort of game Newcastle will do victory in, because they've been superb this season. But Leeds, I thought, were actually not too bad against Man City. They did get the goal from Struijk, and I think Leeds will put up a fight here. Newcastle 2, Leeds 1. Leeds to score first through Rodrigo, or, maybe someone else, but I think it's probably him. And the Newcastle goal scorers will go for Miguel Almiron once again, carrying on his fine run of form. And the other one for Newcastle will be Joe Willock. Now it's Brighton versus Arsenal, and I think that Arsenal will get a narrow victory, 1-0 to the Gunners, because they looking sturdy at the back and fairly decent in attack. And the only goal scorer for Arsenal, it is, yes, Eddie Nketiah once again. Spurs Aston Villa is next. Harry Kane has got a superb record against these opponents, but I just feel that Villa will really make it tough for Tottenham, and therefore restrict the scoreline to only 1-0. But of course, it is Harry Kane with the goal for Spurs. And then finally, we've got Nottingham Forest Chelsea to make up match week number 18. And this is a game I can see Chelsea actually struggling in. Forest ground is not easy, the City ground. It's a big atmosphere, and Chelsea haven't been convincing for a long time, in my opinion. But they got the job done against Bournemouth. I think they'll do that just about here. Forest 1, Chelsea 2. And Forest will score first through Gibbs White, who I think it might be a doubt, so maybe not actually. We'll go for someone else. We'll go for Emmanuel Dennis, who scored in this fixture for Watford last season. And then Chelsea goal scorers will say it's a bit of Marc Cucurella and Mason Mount. So then moving on to match week number 19 then. It's, of course, the New Year's Day fixtures. I say that because it's the first round of games where all the matches are in 2023. But let's get into it straight away then. We've got Brentford versus Liverpool on the Monday Night Football. But it's a weird one because it's Monday Night Football to start off a game week. However, I'm backing Liverpool. Liverpool have been quite cagey at times, but this Brentford side, as good as they were against Spurs in periods, I just feel Liverpool are looking much better now. Brentford 0, Liverpool 1. And the only goal scorer, not Salah this time. Instead, it's, oh yes, the forward. That is Darwin Núñez. And now it's Arsenal versus Newcastle, a huge game at the top of the table. It is first against third. And I look at this and think, surely Arsenal, they can't keep winning, can they? They can't definitely win the league, because Erling Haaland is in town and you know what he can do. But the gap is 5 points. So a win here for Newcastle would really help Man City out. But I just feel that Arsenal at home have been so strong. I don't see that changing, even though Newcastle have been so good. Arsenal 3, Newcastle 1. Then we've got Everton Brighton. I'm backing a tight and scrappy game, but I'll say 1-0 to Everton with home advantage. Then Leicester Fulham. I think Everton goal scorer, I don't know, let's say their striker, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he's fit, which he basically never is. So instead, we'll say Anthony Gordon. But then in the Arsenal game, goal scorers Callum Wilson will probably be back from that illness, so he'll score. And then Arsenal, Odegaard, Saka, and Gabriel. But then in the Leicester Fulham game, we're going 2-0 Leicester. I think this is going to be a fairly comfortable one. Daka scoring for Leicester, and then the second goal for Leicester will be a little bit of Wout Feist, their defender. Then we got United Bournemouth. I think 3-0 to United, fairly comfortable. Rashford goal scorer. Also goals coming on the day from a little bit of Luke Shaw. And then the third goal for Manchester United will be, of course, that man again, Garnacho. Now we've got Southampton v Forest. I'm not going with a 3-0 as much as that in this one. I think it'll be a bit more tight, but I still back Southampton 2-1 on the day with goals from Armstrong. That is, of course, Adam Armstrong. And then Nottingham Forest score through Taiwo Awanui, but then Southampton hit back with a second goal, and at this time it's scored by James Ward-Prowse. Leeds West Ham, I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I think this will be nice and tight. West Ham goal scorer is going to be Declan Rice, and Leeds goal scorer will go for Crysencio Somerville. And then Villa Wolves, this is of course a Midlands derby between the two sides. And I feel like this is going to be a very poor derby. Lots of tackles flying in, but not much attacking quality. 0-0 is my prediction. Then Palace Spurs, we're going for a 1-1 draw in this London derby. I think it'll be fiery, but I think Spurs will nick a point right at the end, thanks to a bit of Bentancur. But the goal scorer for Palace, I think, will be Odsonne Edouard. And then we've got Chelsea against Manchester City, a huge game. Obviously, Chelsea haven't been up to scratch this season, but if they can put a dent in City's title charge, it would certainly be a big statement. However, I just don't see Man City losing this game, but it could be a good draw. Chelsea 2, Man City 2. Chelsea goal scorer is going to be, first of all, a bit of Kai Havertz. Then City score through their one and only Erling Haaland. Then the second City goal, Bernardo Silva. And Chelsea get a late equaliser after a goal from Kalidou Koulibaly. And finally, in match week 19, we've got Fulham against Chelsea. This is going to be an interesting one, a London derby, but I see Fulham, honestly, that good. They can win this game. With Mitrovic up top, they're doing well. Fulham 2, Chelsea 1. And Mitrovic to score first for Fulham. Then Chelsea goal scorer is going to be now a different player to then I've mentioned before. Instead of Mason Mount, instead of Kai Havertz, it's going to be, yes, the ex-Fulham man, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You know it's going to happen. And then the second Fulham goal, I'm saying it's once again a Fulham defender, this time Kenny Tete. Those are my predictions for match week number 18 and 19. Obviously, there are some more fixtures come 13th of Jan, 14th of Jan. The fixture pile-up is mad, but we will predict match week number 20 closer to the time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.